Yeah.
Greetings to all who are attending the talk today. It's my honor and privilege to introduce to you all the distinguished speaker for the evening today, Professor Narasimha Rao Desirazu, or Dr. D.N. Rao. Professor D.N. Rao, he has been a classmate, dorm mate, housemate, and a friend going back over 50 years. So I suppose I can call him just Narsim. Professor Rao has an important and remarkable story to share with all of you today on this important project on which he has embarked, and one which is destined to have an indelible impact on our education systems for decades to come. Narsim today is Honorary Professor at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and advisor Challakere Campus of the IISc, which is located in Chitradurga District in Karnataka. Narsim's credentials are as awesome as they are mind-boggling. He is a fellow of the Indian National Science Academy. He has published over 100 papers in national and international journals of repute. Over 25 students have been awarded their PhDs who have worked in his laboratory and been guided by him. His area of research is biochemistry of DNA, DNA interactions and pathogenic bacteria. The most familiar ones to me, because I can never even pronounce the names he talks about, are the H. pylori virus. Foundations of this remarkable career in scientific research began at Delhi University in 1975 with a BSc, after which he went on to do an MSc from the G.B. Pant University of Agriculture and Technology. He rounded off his primary science education with a PhD from the IISc Bangalore. He has had multiple postdoctoral stints, the most significant of them being the National Institute of Health in Bethesda in the United States, at the University of Basel in Switzerland, and the University of Cambridge in England. He's joined the IISc Bangalore in 1989 as an assistant professor and went on to become a professor in 2001. From 2005 to 2016, he was the chairman of the Division of Biological Sciences at IISc. He retired from active teaching and guiding in August of 2020. But there is more to Narsim than all the academic and research eminence suggests. I'm sure all the people who have known him well, certainly his classmates, will agree that Narsim is a man who oozes humility, old school gentlemanliness and steadfastness that is so much a part of his personality. He is a global traveler. Last count, he had descended on 47 countries. Somehow South America had eluded him, which I'm sure he'll take care of pretty soon. Narsim enjoys Carnatic music, and to those who are familiar with the Madras concert scene, Narsim is seen every December as a regular attendee, work permitting. Narsim has one daughter, Priyanka, who lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, an amazing daughter destined to achieve great things on her own. So keep an eye. About anecdotes on Narsim at school, well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Is that correct, Narsim? So with his background before you, it is time to hand over the stage to Dr. D.N. Rao to tell you more about this important project. Over to you, Narsim.
Thank you, Anand, for that very nice introduction of Narsim. So without much ado, may I invite you now, Professor Narasimha Rao, to share your screen and commence your presentation.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Not coming. Let me see. Where's the screen? I'm just trying to get my screen up.
No, just double click on the Challakere experience you see on your screen. No, to the left, to the left. Yeah, that one. Double click on it. Oh, it's actually here. I don't know. It's already on your taskbar at the bottom.
All right. Can you
Oh,
see it
there-
now? Yeah.
Yes.
All
And
right.
use the presentation mode, Narasim.
Yeah, I'll do that. This is a presentation mode?
No. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Is
There
this
you
good
go.
enough? Yeah, all right.
Absolutely.
All right. First of all, thank you very much, Subbarao, and thanks, Anand, for that very nice introduction. I extremely proud to be part of the Hyderabad Public School, the class of 1971. I was a very average student in school, but I probably got interested to do more basic sciences than many of my colleagues at that time who went on to do engineering and medicine and think more professional. But I did my BSc in Delhi and then went on to do my master's, as Anand said, in Pantnagar, and then came to PhD in Bangalore. And I've been in Bangalore at the Institute of Science since '89. And in 2020, I retired. And the institute by then had started this program, a center called the Talent Development Center. And in the year 2009 or 2010, we had celebrated 100 years. The IISc had celebrated its centenary year, and the local government, the government of Karnataka, offered us a big land, 1,500 acres of land, about 230 kilometers north of Bangalore, the main campus. This is a rough map of that place where you can see from Bangalore, you go up on the Pune-Bombay highway via Tumkur, Sira and Hiriyur. And right at Hiriyur, you make a right turn and then you go to a place called Challakere. And in Challakere, again, you make a first left at the main center and then you come to a place called Kudapura. That is where the Indian Institute of Science is there, but generally called as IISc Challakere Campus. While we have 1,500 acres, the neighboring institutes like the BARC, the DRDO, and the ISRO have 2,000 and 4,000 acres of land. So this whole 12,000, 14,000 acres of land in the district of Chitradurga, one of the most backward districts of Karnataka, the government wants to set up a science technology city, and that's where we are part of it. So Chitradurga is known for its very famous fort, and there's a lot of history there. And it's a drought-stricken land area. But recently, in the last 10 years, I think, water supply has come, and therefore things are improving to a large extent. This is as you enter from enter the Challakere town. Challakere is known as an oil city. It's the second next to Bombay, which produces a lot of oil, vegetable oil and things like that. And from Challakere, it's about 15 kilometers, is a place called Kudapura, and that is where the campus is situated. This is the local bus stop. You get off here, then you take an auto rickshaw or a bus or something and come down. Very beautiful market. You guys should come. The vegetable market and the food market of Challakere is stunning and is absolutely beautiful to see that. Recently, just before the entrance of our institute, the government started an engineering college, a very nice building, and then I think the government is trying to spend a lot of money trying to educate people in this region. In 2010, when this institute got its second campus, the first program and the only program that started was, at that time, Balram, who was the director, suggested that we must do something different from what all other campuses do and should not replicate what's been happening in the Bangalore campus. So Professor Hegde, who was the Dean of Science in the Institute, then decided that, teachers training program, a very unique program, even now, today, 12 years later on, would be the ideal thing to do. And the knowledge imparted to the students is proportional to the teacher's knowledge. On an average, one teacher teaches about 120 students per year. Therefore, teaching and training teachers has multiplying effect. It amplifies so many times. And therefore, with these three ideas, this experiment, as I call it, as a Challakere experiment in the Talent Development Center, is a reflection of these three ideas. And that is how it started. We started this, Professor Hegde actually, he was here about in 2010, started the whole thing in this building, which is an abandoned Australian sheep farm. The way back, the then Chief Minister Desirazu wanted to set up this 14,000 acres of land to breed some Australian sheep and therefore make wool and things like that. While this happened for some years, I think later on, for a variety of reasons, the local people started eating the sheep. So there was no wool production at all. And therefore, it was abandoned and building was available. And I'll show you, this is the outside of the building where we started. This is inside of the building. And we renovated. The Institute of Science decided that they will renovate this building and start the courses. And this is the blank portion that you see here. This is what we made into a classroom. And this is how the training program started. The training program is exclusively for teachers, and teachers only from government schools or government aided schools. And we started off with, and we still have a lot of things with the government of Karnataka. Every year, about 2,000 teachers are trained. And we have done about, on an average, nearly 20,000 teachers so far. And this is at high school, at the pre-university level, the BSc level, and very few MSc levels. This is the beginning of our TDC in that building. This is the kitchen. This is where it's a residential course that we run. It's a 10-day course. And then, after 2 days gap, the next course starts. So we run about 25 such programs in the year. So 250 days in the year, almost with a gap of 2 days, every other day we have this program going on. And we have about 100 to 120 teachers who come for this course. And I'll tell you more about that. This is the Australian breeding farm, which was abandoned, their quarters, and this is the quarter that I stay now. It was originally a guest house for a faculty, but now I stay here. These are the quarters where all the teachers stay, the faculty stay, and things like that. Not anymore now, but I continue to be in this campus, which is about 1.5 kilometers from the new campus, and I'll show you about it. This is the dining hall on the bottom left that you see here. And the mess runs 365 days, all 12 years. We have never closed the mess at all, even now. And caters to 150 to 175 people during the training program. And the food is made free for all of us. Everybody who is on the Challakere campus do not pay at all. It's all taken care by the institute and by the grants that we get. This is the old campus. You can see the internet, the UPS power, the diesel generator sets for the center and the hostel in very, very primitive conditions, literally primitive conditions, that Professor Hegde started this whole teacher training program. We have workshops. We had a hospital, which is basically a van. This is Ravi, who knows all the local doctors, knows all the local police officials, knows all the lawyers. He's one man who knows everybody, and all help is brought up because of Ravi. And then we have a glass blowing section, and we did a lot of teachers training program. The funds for this teachers training program, we started mostly with the DST, the Departments of Science and Technology of Karnataka, who gave us very reasonable grants, about 1 crore or 1.3 crores per year of rupees. And even now, even in 2022, they've given us quite regularly this, and all their teachers are being trained at the moment. In 2015, about 5 years or 4.5 years after this training program started, Prime Minister Modi had visited the institute, and then decided, when we presented this, he said that this was an outstanding thing to do, and he would want every state in the country to have a talent development center where teachers would be trained. And he started this program where we got funding called the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers Training. And for about 6 years, 5 years, we got 100 lakhs from the MHRD, the then Ministry of Human Resources and Development. There's no more MHRD now. We call it as the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Education. We train not only the teachers from the Karnataka government schools, but also offer Kendra Vidyalaya schools, the Navodaya schools, and many other kind of schools. I'll come back to that later on. So the support has been from the government of Karnataka and the MHRD for a long time, for almost 10 years. We also got support from companies like Larsen & Toubro Technology Services, who gave us money so that we could buy equipment for the laboratory courses that we will do. I'll come back to that later on. So this support has been, from the government and from the CSR pocket. Right now, we have support from DSERT. The government of Odisha has been sending, the last 1 year, we have trained 600 teachers. We're about to finalize MOU with the government of Goa, the Navodaya Vidyalaya school that I told you about. The fifth one is this Bharatiya Reserve Bank Note Mudran Private Limited. This is not part of the Reserve Bank. It's a private entity which is responsible for making or printing all the notes. All our currency is printed by this Bharatiya Reserve Bank. It's not part of the Reserve Bank. It's an some association with that. And they decided that they would like to give as CSR funding, and they gave us about 90.5 lakhs. Two other branches of the government of Karnataka, not the DSERT, that is the Directorate of Science, Education, Research, Training, but two other branches of the Karnataka government called the Karnataka Residential Education Institution Society and the Directorate of Minorities, people who run Buddhist, Christian, Muslim schools and things like that. They have got an MOU with us now, and they are giving us substantial funding, as you see this numbers. And the 1 year understanding that we had with Odisha government is over, and now next week I'm going to Bhubaneswar they want to have a MOU for 3 years so that they would continuously send teachers from Odisha. The government of Uttaranchal, the chief secretary, is interested in this, and I think we're now in the process of finalizing an MOU. There's been a lot of demand for this teachers training. And actually in May now, when we start booking, we are booked till the next February, and we can't do anything more than that. We stop our training programs in February because A, it gets very hot in Challakere. B, all the teachers, high school teachers all over the country are busy with exams, board exams and things like that. So we can't have any courses in March, April and May. So it's only from June to February that we have this 25 10-day programs that we have and we run. So we're continuously busy for this training program. So that is the general outlay. We're hoping that more and more funds will come from different government, but just to accommodate the teachers in our schedule is now becoming a very difficult thing to do. So the training that we do is in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry and biology. So it's a science program that you know. And in schools and in local parlance, the physics, chemistry and biology is considered as science, and mathematics is separate. All, I think in Andhra Pradesh, in Karnataka, elsewhere, science and mathematics at high school level. So while we do 10 days of physics, chemistry and biology, 4 days, 3 days and 3 days, the mathematics is all 10 days, complete 10 days of only mathematics. The beauty or the unique feature of our science program and the mathematics program that we teach here by doing experiments. Every teacher does an experiment, hands-on experience, hands-on experiment, no demonstrations and very few theory classes. We have 2 theory classes a day, but the rest of the day, we start at 8 and end at 8. It's mostly doing practicals, doing experiments so that the teachers who never had a chance to do experiments in their schools have the best opportunity to. So we do it in physics, in chemistry, and biology. While the mathematics people solve problems all 10 days. Book problems, exam problems, all sorts of problems. Over 450 problems in 10 days is what they do, so that the teachers understand. And the whole idea is that these teachers, especially in mathematics, have to score 100 marks, because anything less than 100 is not acceptable. So when the teachers come on the first day, we give them a test just to find out at what level these guys are. And most of them are very poor in the knowledge and things like that. So they get 2 out of 20 or 3 out of 20 and things like that in mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. At the end of the 10 days, I don't know whether it is because of our teaching or their efforts, but they get very good. They score very well. They get 17, 18 out of 20 and things like that. So we think that the teachers program that we do has some effect. But we are not satisfied with this. I'll show you some statistics later on. But these teachers who go back, there are schools where these children are taught by these. The performance of the children in their SSLC board or the PUC board has increased substantially. The general mindset of all these schools, especially these government and government-aided schools, the principals, they all aim only for 35 marks. They don't want anybody to get more than 35, because they want to show later on that they have 100% pass record in their schools. And that is what we have changed their mindset, and saying 35 is not good. You must aim for 70 and 80. So if you do last 5 years analysis of the children who were trained by the people who were trained here, the average mark has gone up to 60, 70% and things like that. I think that is the satisfaction we have, that teachers learn here and also go back and explain and do the job properly, so that the students are motivated and excited. The whole idea is to make these teachers excited about doing science. The first day and the first 2 days, they're all very diffident. They always come and say that we are not used to this schedule and there's no need for us. We don't do these things. But then after the last day, they don't want to go back. They want to continue doing experiments and things like that. So I think, there's a whole philosophy of how you do this, how you excite these teachers so that they go back and excite their students. We have gone to a few schools, and I'll tell you about the school children. But the teachers are, high school teachers all over the country are paid quite well. They get anywhere between 40,000 and 60,000, or if not more. But shocking news is that some of these, very few of them, senior people don't go to school at all. They are the teachers, but they sublet their salary and ask some junior to go and give some classes and do that. This is the tragedy that we have, not only in Karnataka schools, all over, I'm sure this is happening. And therefore, some of these teachers who come, and all the selection of the teachers is done by the government. We don't make any, we don't select anybody. We take everybody. The idea is that Karnataka has about 18,500 high school teachers. We have done about 14,500 so far. And the idea is to train all the 18,500, and everybody has to come. And it's some of these teachers who have told us that it's a waste for us, because we do this subletting and we don't teach at all. Now, this is the tragedy of this whole thing. And, but the bulk of the teachers who come are very excited. They want to do experiments. They want to learn. The whole idea is that these teachers gain knowledge and do experiments and think and do things. So this is the training at 4 levels we do at high school, the PUC, that is the intermediate or the secondary school, class 11 and 12 teachers, the BSc teachers. We have also done MSc teachers. And you see it's 10 days, 11 days, 15 days, and 21 days. And we do for mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. So the method of training is learn science by doing experiments, and that is the most important thing. Create experiments to make theory concepts sense. So what we have done as faculty here, We have taken the textbook, the NCERT-based books that we follow. Every sentence, wherever there's an experiment, that we have devised this experiment. We have made the experiments in physics, chemistry, and biology. And we cover almost 100% of the science syllabus via the experiments. The mathematics is solved by solving problems. There's a blackboard lectures with demonstration if there's going to be a blackboard. And we train them to write, and because writing becomes important, many of them can't write for nuts, and it's assignments and things like that we teach by doing assignments and having tutorials in the evening when the course is done. So the teachers, we teach what the teachers do not know and what they need to know. And therefore, this is what we follow within the textbook or the syllabus. And the pre and the post test that we give on the first day and the last day is to find out how much they have learned. Ultimately, is the scores that the children who have been taught by these teachers is what matters. So we made a number of books, manuals, which we give them. This is for mathematics, for the highest high school, PUC, BSc or mathematics. This is for the chemistry experiments or the physics experiments or the biology experiments at high school. They do about 50 experiments in 10 days in chemistry and in biology and in physics. We also started after a few years that many of these experiments which they do here, we have made actually kits and we give it to schools. And we have given about now, this is an old slide, about 28 and another 28, about 50 or 60 schools have been benefited by getting this one set of 150 experiments, 15 physics, 15 chemistry, and 15 biology. And this funding comes from L&T. This is where we have used the L&T, the CSR support. So that and the idea is that the teachers who have learned here will go back and do these experiments, and the children be able to do this. But unfortunately, we found that we visited some schools, not all schools, but some schools. The principals of these schools have not even opened this whole kit that we have given them. They've kept it on the top, and it says us who are to go and retrieve them, and then told them that if you don't do it, then we are going to take it back. So that is the tragedy. If it's an arts, the school has an arts principal, he's least interested in doing the science activities and things like that. Although we address only teachers, I think, we need to do something different and go to schools and then create mobile laboratories and go around villages to show some of these experiments, because the school children are really excited. They're very good. And if they're taught, I think they'll do very well. I found in a couple of things that I went to schools, the tragedy is the 8th standard, 9th standard students do not know how to divide 10 divided by 10.5. The whole concept of decimal is completely lost. But when you go and teach them, they're able to do problems within half an hour. So some of these things is very disturbing. And, sometimes I get up in the night and I imagine, what am I doing? Is it making any dent at all? But I think teaching teachers, I think, is important. And I think, a large effect is there, a positive effect, but some of these things like the teachers don't go back and the principals don't allow these teachers and things like that is quite disturbing. But otherwise, this is there's a huge inquiry, and every school now in Karnataka wants to send their teachers here, even the private schools. But we have restricted ourselves to the high school and the thing. So this is for experiments in physics, chemistry, maths for the class 11 and 12. We follow only the NCERT books, whatever the CBSE syllabus and things like that. This is for the BSc experiment at the BSc level. And for MSc, we normally give them a project to do, and they said that they have to write a report. And you can see the performance of these teachers. And I'll give you some more statistics later on. Abdul Kalam had visited us in 2011, and he actually tested the teachers. When we said, we'll ask questions, he said, no, I will ask the questions and let me see if these people can answer. So this is one such photograph where he was asking a teacher. This is the PUC board director inspecting the facilities to send the teachers. I must tell you that all this equipment is designed and made here in the Talent Development Center. There are 2 or 3 companies which help us to make the thing. The Education Secretary is here. I'll just show you some picture. This is our council chairman, Rama Rao, and our director, Anurag Kumar. This is Professor Hegde on the left side. Try to explain what experiments we are doing. So I'll flash a few experiments if you don't mind, because it reminded me of my school days when we did physics. It's been ages since I've done physics experiments. But this is something like the laws of reflection, for example. Anand, you remember this, Subbarao, that we did this with Daniel, Sam, and others, Subbu, and so these are experiments. The verification of the Ohm's law. Remember, all these instruments have been designed by us, by my physics colleagues and things like that. We had an ordinary vernier caliper, but now we have made it a digital one. So things have, improvised, innovated here to some of these things. Although the schools still follow the manual digital vernier caliper, I think some of these things have added. The absolute measurement of liquid, the temperature, the minus 196.6 degrees centigrade, the demonstration of that. This is the focal length determination. This is magnetic lines of force and things like that. So these are the kind of experiment that every teacher does in physics, for example. The determining of the Avogadro's number, for example, a velocity of light in water, the Newton's law of cooling, and so on and so on. I'll skip some of these slides just to show you. Very nice way of demonstrating Boyle's law, Charles' law, the Gay-Lussac's law, the electrolysis of water, and the complete spectra, chemical reactions, universal gas constant, the determination of R. This is actually the packing of things in an atom, in alloys and things like that. These are the kind of experiments that the chemistry people do. These are the biology experiments that we do for, when we teach biology, bacterial colonies, fungal colonies, blood group testing, microscopy, and then also, molecular biology experiments of gel electrophoresis and things.
Sorry to interrupt, Narasim.
Yes.
There are a lot of biology teachers from HPS, Begumpet and Ramantapur. So if you want to spend a little more time on biology, I think they would appreciate.
I can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go back to bio. Yeah. So though, these are all experiments prescribed in these NCERT books. As I said, for the high school, we do 50 experiments. And for the PUC, about 80 experiments. All, and I said, these are experiments that we have made from a sentence. What is written there, we have made an experiment and tried to explain the concept in biology, physics, or chemistry by doing these experiments. So, seed health testing, for example, blood group testing that is done, microscopy, and they use compound microscopes to look at, various organisms under, a pond sample and things like that. A binocular microscope, this is 100,000 times magnification. They run protein gels on SDS page polyacrylamide gels. They learn how to do plant tissue culture experiments. This is blood testing that we have done. And DNA, and this is the most fascinating thing. Every child in on this, in these areas, they all know what is DNA. They have never seen DNA, and then therefore we isolate DNA and then run it on agarose gels and things like that. And remember that these are all done individually. It's not a group experiment or a demonstration. So the thrill of actually seeing these molecules is something to really appreciate. Molecular biology, and at the PUC and BSc, of course, they do cloning and ligations and things like that. But at high school level, using the pipettement, for example, there's no manual sucking of the liquids and things like that. This is directly by this pipettement, the use of pipettement, calibration. And then the last 3-4 years, we have said that biology is very quantitative. Unfortunately, while physics, chemistry, and all, they assume that everything is, the little bit of maths. When it comes to biology, their mindset is that, this is all you cram, you learn something. And when we teach them everything from a quantitative point of view, give problems, unfortunately, the examination system doesn't treat biology in a very quantitative manner. But, we said this is what you have to learn. Biology is now becoming very, very quantitative, and it's a question of numbers and, things like that. 1 divided by 10, which can be written as 0.1 or 10 to the raised to the -1, takes me a lot of time to explain to these teachers. They're not used to this kind of, they probably know, but they never think in this way at all. So these are the things we're trying to introduce and see whether we can change the mindset. And that biology is quantitative. That is important. And that's what. In the mathematics class, one thing I must forgot to tell you, that all the faculty who come to teach are all from IISc, and not from any other place. We have not, we stuck to IISc because we have enough variety of teachers who can come. This is a mathematics class conducted by Professor C.R. Praneshachan, who was actually in the Homi Bhabha Center in Bombay. And he's one of the Olympiad teachers, mathematics Olympiad training that he does. So he's an excellent teacher. So we have 3 such people who come to teach mathematics. Especially in high school, you require a lot of fundamentals to be cleared. Especially in algebra, for example, we find that many of the teachers are, a bit skeptical about learning, but these teachers are excellent. They do a wonderful job. They are just examples of it. And I go through some of this, and I remember my own school days when I was not very good in mathematics. Neither was I good in biology, but anyway, that's a different story. We also have a lot of activities now, which we introduced in the last 2 years, mathematics, activities related with mathematics. This is what most teachers want. And this is something they can do in the school. It's not expensive at all. You have a scissors, you have a paper, and then you have many of these activities done. I think this has become very, very popular, and we always get a lot of teachers coming for the mathematics program. This is solution for a quadratic equation by paper folding, for example, or a plus b is a whole square, a squared plus b squared plus 2ab. You can actually do by this kind of. So this is how we teach mathematics and solve problems. The whole thing idea is solving. As I said, about 400 or 450 problems in 10 days is what the mathematics teachers is supposed to do. The laboratory kits that I mentioned here are the kits that we give to schools, and the kits consist of about 150 experiments. 3 are the companies which help us to make this. It's designed by us, but they're manufactured by these companies. Very nice. Now Orissa government also wants us to send these kits to about 600, for 25 schools in Orissa and things like that. We've gone, as I said, sometimes to go to school to actually make the students do these experiments. And this is the best part. This is the most satisfying, when they actually, children are so excited, even to pipe it, even to, do mixing of liquids and things like that. Here's a digital spectrometer designed by us in a school. And you can see, and Professor Hegde here is actually demonstrating some at Venugopal High School in Pavagada, a border town here. And I think, these are the ones which make a lot of difference, to go to schools and actually do it. Some of us, not me particularly, but Professor Hegde actually gone to many schools, all government schools here, to actually take some classes, do some demonstrations and things. Here's another school that is gone. And we found that the first test and the last test, no single teacher refused to take a test. They all took tests. They knew when they were bad in the beginning, and when they improved, the excitement and the thrill they have when they get their marks is almost as childish as their own children. So this is very satisfying. They want to learn, and that is what is important. It's not as if the bulk of the teachers don't want to learn. They all want to learn, and they want to learn more. And that is why I think, this program is going on quite successfully. Here's some statistics here to show you And you can see the bars, the histogram in the blue is before the training, and the one in the red, they've all tremendously improved. This is between the pre-test and the post-test that we conduct here, either in mathematics or in science, whether it is a Kendriya Vidyalaya school or the Navodaya schools, the same trend is there. We find the Navodaya and the Kendriya Vidyalaya schools in rural towns, the teachers are a notch better than the actual government schools that come. So there is a difference between that. As I said, this was in 2020, we trained about 14,000 teachers. And I think right now in the last 2 years, we have done another 3,500 teachers, 3,000 teachers. So we are doing, and this is the maximum, this is the maximum number of teachers that we can train in the year. Because 3 months, as I said, the March, April, and May is very hot year, and no teachers would come to do this. At the Talent Development Center, we also have research facilities, and reasonably good research facility, but very little research is going on because most of the time is spent on designing or doing experiments for these children, the teachers that will come here. All our staff is done by includes the project assistants, the instructors, and the coordinators. And I, as a convener of all these programs, I also teach high school. It's not been easy at all. Teaching high school and PUC is so difficult. I have to spend a lot of time in preparation before I can go and face this stuff, because they do have a lot of questions, and therefore, one that needs to know. So the fundamentals. These are all the equipment that we have now to do a slightly higher level of research, things like that. And we are trying to encourage. The institute wants us to do not only teaching, but also wants us to do research work. And some of which is possible, especially in chemistry, that we do some of these things. What I want to show you here is that science teaching is done at these levels, at the IISc, the IITs, the central universities, state universities, which compose of state government colleges, private colleges, and things like that. Similarly, I think the engineering education is done, but we haven't started any engineering course. And I'm keen that I start some training for engineering faculty belonging to polytechnics and things like that. So that is the next stage that we want to do. And I think in November, we are having the first workshop for this polytechnic faculty from polytechnic colleges, just to work and develop some skills and things like that. So in 2020, we moved to the new campus. This is the main entrance of the campus. This resembles the Chitradurga Fort entrance, and that is how we copied this thing here. It's a semi-arid land. It's a semi-grassland, and we have 1,500 acres of this kind of land here. And you see, it's very bare. We have a lot of deer, we have wild boars, we have a lot of snakes, and a couple of times, at least in the last 2 years I've been here, leopards have been sighted. So it is wild. But with a little portion of this campus, the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited in the CSR policy gave us 70 crores to build this building. This is the top building you see here is called as a Skill Development Center, and we have moved from that shed to this building with very nice laboratories. I'll show you. We have a very nice hostel complex, a guest house, a women's hostel, and a men's hostel. And 200 participants can stay in the hostel, and there are 32 guest rooms where we have visiting parties. This is the entrance of the Skill Development Center. This is the hostel, and these are the laboratories. You see the classrooms, very, very nice facility compared to the old Talent Development Center, which I showed you, which was from the sheep breeding farm that we actually started. So it's been a lot of improvement, but slow. I think, in the last 12 years, I think more development could be done. But here's, in the dining hall, all the teachers get breakfast, lunch, tea, and dinner. And early morning, bed coffee and bed tea is also served in the hostel. And this is an auditorium that I'm very proud of, and I've shown it to so many people. We don't have an auditorium like this in the institute, in the main institute. This is a 275-seater auditorium that we have. These are teachers from Orissa who came here in 2022. These are all our faculty. These guys, the guy with the mask and the rest are the main cooks, Prashant and Nagaraj, who actually cook, who have been cooking from 12 years continuously. Not a day the kitchen has been closed because of these guys. These are all the various staff members. Multitasking is something that is very inherent to these guys. Electrician will do a water thing. All sorts of things are done by these. This is the campus that we have. This is a short evening shot. We don't recommend anybody to walk in the night, even from the hostel to the complex after 7 o'clock because it gets dark. It's beautiful campus, but we need to do a lot of things. This is the minister. This is the minister who visited us, who studied in the Institute of Science. He did the MTech and he's the local minister, MLA here, MLA or MP. So he keeps coming here and said that he would like to do more and that the institute should just ask for money. But you know how politicians are. Besides the Talent Development Center and the teaching program, the engineering faculty of our institute also have other programs, energy programs, solar energy, water-based hydroelectricity projects and all that. These are some of the projects, but they have not really taken off in a big sense. The old sheep breeding farm still has this, that they train farmers, they train these cattle rearing farmers how to take off the wool and things like that. So this is done at the sheep breeding farm, which was originally ours. We have telescopes, and now one of our alumnus, C.K. Manjunath, decided to give a very nice set of microscope, and we're going to set up an astronomy lab here. The night sky in Challakere is very good, especially now, October, November, December. The sky is so beautiful, and and the air is so clear and clean that I think the astronomy and a lot of astronomers would come and run courses for us. That is the new activity that we're going to do. This is in a town in Kudapura where the Institute, one civil engineering department, have created bricks which are 30% cheaper than the regular bricks, and they keep very cool. So they've actually built a community hall very nearby and things. So a lot of buildings in this area are coming up with this kind of things. And finally, with the new education policy in vogue, it is now decided by the government that by 2028 or 2029, all high school science teachers should have a 4-year BS degree called the BS-BEd degree, the science and the education degree. We're going to start the BS-BEd degree program either 23 or 24, and that's where we will have students, and therefore student community will going to be populating this particular program. At the moment, we're all adults here, we're all teachers here, but I think a campus should have students, and I think the BS-BEd program will be an excellent addition, especially for the teachers training program that we actually have. So I'll stop here. I don't know whether we have time for the movie. The movie just is about an 18-minute movie, but we can have some questions now. And Subbarao, if you think we have a time, you can flash that movie. I sent you that.
Yeah, probably we'll take a few questions and then time permitting.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Great. Would you please unshare your screen?
Right. Stop share. I'll do that. Okay. All right. Is that okay?
Yeah. Let me just. There you go. Excellent. I think that's a word that comes to my mind. And two thoughts.
Yes.
I just realized how fortunate all of us were when we had good laboratory facilities when we were in school at HPS Begumpet.
I know, exactly.
I mean, from the way you described, and I'm sure our laboratories in all the 4 schools now are much better. But then we all realize that government schools, especially, and government aided schools, there's a long road to bringing them up to standard. That's one thought that crossed my mind. And the second thing is, again, how fortunate we were to have the kind of teachers we had.
Right.
I mean, I was telling before you joined us about our physics teacher, Mr. Subramaniam.
Yes.
Out of the 40 minutes, he used to spend about 30 minutes explaining to us the question. And he would spend just the last 10 minutes in the solution to that, enabling you to training your mind to think in a certain fashion. And that came to my mind because of after listening to you and how you are trying to change the mindset. That's the word you used, of the teachers whom you're training. So there are a lot of questions. Some came in the chat box to everybody, some to my personal box. Let me take a few and see and try to group them for commonality. One of the important questions that I saw as important is, what is the medium of instruction in your training programs? Because most of the government schools teach in the local language, and how do you address this problem?
Right. Where it concerns the schools from Karnataka, you're right, but the teachers have all done but high school is a BSc qualification. They've all studied in English medium. But the teaching in schools is done in Kannada and out here also, but most of us teach in English, but we've thrown in a bit of Kannada here and there. Even the physics that we teach here, we have a teacher from Manipur who has learned Kannada, some words, and he explains some of these things in Kannada. But bulk of the teaching is done in English. When it comes to Orissa schools, we have switched to Hindi and English, but English is there all through. So the teachers all understand English. They might ask you a question in Kannada and you can answer it in English or in Kannada if you're familiar, but they all understand this. Because the textbooks are all in the NCERT books, the exam things, they're all in English, which they learn, but they teach probably in Kannada. Some schools do teach in Kannada. That's right.
Okay. The next question is, in recent days, we've been hearing a lot about the phenomenal success as claimed by the Delhi government in, revamping government schools. And we have seen a lot of visuals of definitely the creature comforts, the student desk, the classrooms, the color, the painting, the sports facilities, what have you. Did your institute or the Talent Development Center examine what was the model used by the Delhi government and how it compares to what you're doing?
No, we haven't done. I haven't done. But some of the schools are really pathetic, Subbarao. I mean, it's so pathetic. They don't even have benches. The science students are sitting down under the tree and drawing things and learning things that way. They don't have full bathroom. They don't have toilets. They don't have playground. And this is where the science is taught. And not only science, the other subjects also. Some schools, some are very pathetic. They don't have a proper roof. It's really pathetic. Deep down, when you go to interior Karnataka and all, this is the problem. I'm sure elsewhere in the country also is like this. We haven't done anything about that. We are only concentrating on teachers training. But the problem is, these teachers have to go back and teach under those circumstances. I think it's a very challenging thing to keep them motivated to do this. It's really pathetic. Some schools are really. Some of the schools have made effort, very clean. They've made a conscious effort to keep the blackboard is not there in some schools. Blackboard and chalk and things like that. And I think our whole idea is that we would like eventually, which is my hope, that we get some students from here to come and do PhD with us in the institute. That would be the real success that we know. So we are probably but addressing the students and their environment, the institute has not done much. But our alumni association in the US now is keen that we have mobile vans and things like that. There's some limitation of mobile van. How many experiments you can carry
Yeah.
and show things like that? So we will do something like that to do that. So far in the last 12 years, it's been only teachers. And giving these kits to schools. Unfortunately, some of the schools don't even use it. You're right. But I think this is what I've not compared with Delhi schools. I only recently I came to know that their chief minister had done wonders in the school. I haven't gone into the school. I'm not.
Yeah. The next question is, actually, it's a two-part question. How does your program compare with a similar program being run by Aziz Premji of Wipro for teacher training?
Right.
And is the institute, that is your TDC, also planning to include or experiment with changing the curriculum of teacher training colleges all over the country? Because this is, of course, can be categorized as a 10-day skill development, which is kind of definitely effective from the static you show. But to address the core, at the very fundamental course that they do in B.Ed or now the combined course.
Right.
Are you a part of the initiative or the discussion with the government of India in changing the pedagogical inputs at the B.Ed level?
No, not directly. I think, but the Ministry of Education, formerly called the MHRD Ministry, the Ministry of Education is considering funding the B.Ed program in this institute, in this campus. The Aziz Premji Foundation also wants to get involved with us so that they will teach the education part of it and we do the science part of it. But other than that, we're not actually involved at all. No. At the higher level, many of our faculty are involved in the board of studies of this and that, but not at this level. We have never done education as such. The institute, although in their undergraduate program, in our undergraduate program, we have humanities now, but pedagogy and things like that, we have not done it. So we have not been consulted with this. But some of our faculty have been in the NEP, the drafting of the new education policy.
Okay. So that's the next question. Could you comment on the new education policy and how you see it based on the ground reality you see?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I like the NDP only because of this B.Ed thing, which the teachers should have a minimum, and it's a 4-year program, and the institute already has a 4-year program, and therefore science training and science education with some education pedagogy and things like that would be a nice thing. There are other things that I don't know much about it, but as far as this is concerned, I think it's quite nice. If they really implement this by 28 or 29, that all high school teachers, science teachers should have gone through a B.Ed program, a 4-year program all over the country, I think that's a great thing. And I must tell, lots of people ask me also, when I propose that we will do the B.Ed. How many BSc, of 12th standard students want to come and do education? Everybody wants to do engineering or, medicine and things like that. But we find in places like IISr and things like that, IISr, Indian Institute of Science Education Research in Pune, Bombay, Bhopal and places, many of the teachers many of the students after they finish their PhD want to go back and teach. So that teaching is now, I don't know how significant it is, but these students do want to do it, especially students from Kerala would like to do this. But I think this will be an attractive program. I think there are a lot of people who want to come into teaching. They don't want to do engineering. They don't, like some of us who never wanted to do engineering for a variety of reasons or medicine, took up to science. But I think there are now people who want to do science with education and teach in schools. And
you shared some statistics about the improvement in the teachers who attend your course, the exam marks at the start and the end.
Right.
Were you also able to study or quantify if the teachers who are attending your course are learning from the way a subject is taught from your own institute's faculty, which is coming, because after all, they are serving as role model also,
Right.
though it is
right.
not a part. Was any study done on that?
Not
And if so, is there an extension program where your faculty will also probably adopt a school or two and occasionally go and give lectures?
that would be ideal. It would be nice if we could adopt some schools and we haven't done that. Neither have we done that after these teachers come and learn, train here, and then 3 years now, 5 years from now, do we get them back and see how they're doing and can they be improved? We have not done that. Our whole aim now so far has been to finish at 18,500 Karnataka teachers. We have done 14,500. So we don't have time to, but there's a lot of demand on us that we get back some of these teachers and train them. We can't do periodically because you see, 10 days, 25 things, we don't have time to do this. But this would be one thing. Once in a way, I think we should get back some of these teachers and see how they've done. Have they improved? Our only thing is that there's children from these schools where these teachers have come, they have done reasonably well. They've got 60, 70% and things like that. But other than that, I don't think we haven't done anything like that. This 10 days interaction, from day 1 to day 10, it's different. They're all interested. They ask you more questions and all. But nowadays, in biology, when you teach anything, you teach all sorts of things. The final question they ask is COVID, pandemic, diabetes, heart attack, cancer. Everybody's interested in that. So whatever you teach doesn't matter. It has to come back to these kind of general mindset everywhere.
Right. There's a question from principal of our Ramantapur, HPS Ramantapur. He was wondering, you mentioned about your training program is restricted to government and government aided schools.
Yes.
So do you also offer this to schools like HPS or if they want to?
I wouldn't mind at all. Actually, Professor Hegde did try some private school one occasion. We could do that. I think, sometimes, you want to say enough of the government. I want to see the other schools and things like that. But I would love to do for HPS. Why not? I mean, it's fantastic to do.
I think when we meet for reunion in January,
we can do that. We can do
actually, the principal of Begumpet requested me that we spend some time on this.
Sure, definitely.
So we should probably, half an hour discuss this and maybe the Ramantapur and other schools can
I would love
join.
to do it. We can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that.
The other question was, let me see here. Can you share the experiment kits that you mentioned with other schools? This just came.
We can, I think so. Well, we have the manuals that I can send these manuals and they have all the experiments there. Is that what you want to share?
No, the kits that you said L&T funds, 1.5 lakh.
That is all given to specific schools and therefore the numbers. But I do have 1 or 2 extra kits, but not more.
I see.
How do I send it then? If I want to
I'll discuss with you offline.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even if the school wants to pay for it.
I know.
So, HPS can obviously we can pay for it.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice for our labs to get this kind of kits. I think that's what the teacher had in mind.
So we don't mind paying.
No. I'm sure you don't mind.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, I would like you guys to come here and see once.
Sure. If you allow us to come there.
Yes, please come. That will be the easiest for me. I can host you guys. Come and spend 1 or 2 days. It will be fantastic.
Yeah, please let us know what time is convenient for you and how many teachers can be trained at a time.
Nice. Yeah, I'll do that. But just for a visit, you can come anytime, especially when the program is going on. But if I have to have a program only for the HPS teachers, we can discuss that.
Sure.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Let me pick up a few. Sanyasi Rao wants to know, is there a similar program being run in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh?
I don't know, because the Hyderabad University, the Central University in Hyderabad, they once contacted me. They wanted me to speak about this Challakere thing. And I spoke to them and they said, they were interested in doing something for Andhra Pradesh. I don't know what happened. But sometime back, this Vigyan University in Guntur, their founder's son or brother, who was a member of the parliament, young guy, who was a member of the parliamentary board that visited the institute, when he heard the director speak about the Challakere experiment and when he heard D.N. Rao, he wanted to meet me, and so I met him. And he said he would like to do something like this in Andhra Pradesh. But after that, nothing happened. I have to write to him, and then probably I'm going to Vigyan Guntur on the 31st of this month. So probably I will raise it there.
Right.
But I would love to have, I'm not sure. When I wrote to a few government, the chief secretaries, so the Uttaranchal person called me. After 6 months, he replied to my. So I'm hoping that these guys would reply.
You should run a course for the chief secretaries of governments, I think, to be more prompt in there. Mr. Syed Mujtaba wants to know your view on why some students shy away from taking maths.
I tell you, I was, because, I think because Hyderabad Public School, you had very brilliant guys, who could solve problems as the teacher read out the problem, they could solve it. I was not so good at all. But I found that I liked maths much later on. When I finished my school, there was 6 months gap. You remember the December, June business before the admissions. My younger sister was doing 10th standard, not 10th standard, 8th standard exam in Madras, in Church Park. And then I taught her maths. And that's where I said, no, this is so simple. But somehow when it came to me doing maths in exam and all, somehow everything got blocked. Teachers were good, certainly good, but so I'd like to learn. I learned something on my own later on, but maths puts you off. It is too complicated. Sometimes biology is easy to read, you understand.
Right.
Chemistry is also I can do it, but physics and maths, although we had good teachers, I liked chemistry very much because of Venkatacharya. Venkatacharya was an excellent teacher, and my whole interest in chemistry, biochemistry is because of him.
Right.
And remember, Subbu also taught us one chap. I was in B section. He was a physics teacher for A section. We had Daniel Sam. It was good. I mean, okay, but Subbu was in B, and he taught us static electricity and those things just before electricity. Fantastic. I still have very clear concept with that. Daniel Sam was good, but he spent a lot of time doing other things.
Yeah,
So
Narasimha is referring to our physics teacher, Mr. TBV Subramaniam, who was the founder principal of our school at Ramantapur. Right. We are yet to come across a teacher as brilliant as that man. We still, his lessons are vivid in our memory even now. And we passed out in 1971. Amazing teacher. Will these training classes that you're running help teachers adapt or follow the NEP 3C standard? I don't know what this 3C standard is.
I don't know. What is
Mrs. Indira Narayan, would you like to explain what is this 3C standard? If you unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
Indira Garu?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, it is 4 C's, Professor. It is critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. NEP wants these standards for the teachers. And from what I hear, what you said, how many of these teachers could even, come close to this because of lack of so many facilities in their places?
Actually, when I do biology teaching now, every class I've made sure that we do only quantitative biology, make them think. Even drawing graph, simple X and Y value, but they think many of the biology teachers struggle a lot. But towards the end of the course, they're all plotting graphs and things like that. So I think you just have to prod on them and then do it things like that. At certain schools, for example, the Navodaya schools, you can give them slightly thinking type of questions. I've just gave them this morning some biochemistry questions, and I was quite surprised they were able to think and do like that. But I think it's the training that is important. But for these, bulk of the teachers, they want to stick to the syllabus, In the biology textbook of the NCERT, if you look at it, or the questions they give to students all very, very subjective and not at all objective. Problem solving is not there and things like that. But if you tell them, if you tell the teachers, and I think if you tell the students, there'll be a much better reaction, and people will get excited about this.
I agree.
That is the problem.
Thank you.
Just a small interruption.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some messages come in asking where can we see the past FOSWL meeting recordings. I posted the YouTube link in the chat box.
Yeah.
You can copy that and save that link. Almost quite a number. In fact, a couple of ambassadors who are also students, HPS Begumpet, they spoke. Syed Akbaruddin and Vinay Kumar, who was our batch. You have some excellent talks, which some of them may be useful to show to your faculty or to your students also. So I've given the YouTube link, and you can save that link, and you'll see some, ever since the pandemic began, we do not have recordings of the meetings prior to that. So that's just an aside.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
can you put that movie on for later on, and then people can see, because we don't have time now, but.
No, I just wanted to take a poll. This is a movie of the Institute, which Narasimha has sent. It's ready to be shown. Would you like to see the movie? I think I've exhausted the questions, or most of them. If you like to see the movie, just put up your hand, and then it's a short movie. 18
minutes. But Subbarao, I have to leave now because our director is here. He's visiting us, and I have to be with him now.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
The other thing we can do is we can send the
can you
movie.
send that?
I can send the link.
If you can, that'd be great. Yeah.
Is that okay? I can post the link to all of you, and whoever invited you, they can in turn give it to you. So that should also be good.
Yeah, no problem.
Miss Lalita Raju, you raised your hand. Do you have anything to ask? I see you raised your hand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We would definitely like to see the video, sir, if time permits. That will be very useful to us.
Yeah. So as the speaker has to leave, 8
Yes.
o'clock is the time I had told him.
Yeah.
We will send the link to you. You can watch it at your leisure on your system or on your phone. We will definitely share that. That link will come to you.
And Subbarao, if they want, they can write to me and I can send it out.
Yeah. I'll share your email address.
Email,
also.
sure. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And I would like to keep the interaction. So
correct. Yeah.
Certainly.
Great. I think we have exhausted most of the questions. I mean, unless there's anything. No, I don't see any other questions coming in. So Narasimha, this is great. And we are so proud of you for the, I think, work of national importance that you're doing, I would say.
Thank you.
Really. And as you said, I think in our class, 1, 2, 3, only 3 of you went into teaching. You, Sushir in Alabama, Sunil Handa, and I am Ahmedabad, right?
Yes.
Are there any other teachers from our class? I do not know, but only 3. So I think you guys are making a far more wide-reaching impact than all the engineers and doctors we have in our class, because you're impacting the lives of lakhs of children, all over the country. Hopefully after Karnataka, you're now expanded to Odisha, Manipur, and you said some other state, Bihar.
Yes, we have done, yes.
Yeah. Bihar also. So really nice to know of the work you're doing. And I think the several teachers from various schools who attended will go back with some ideas and including the principals, of what they can do to benefit from a similar program, if not the same program.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
How they can, incidentally, Maruti is here on the call, Maruti Ramprasad. In the year 2000, when schools were just adopting to computer education, we didn't have computers in schools. We struggled to get all our teachers trained in usage of computers. So we actually had CMC create a curriculum and ran a course in HPS Begumpet. I think it was a 6-week or 4-week course. We gave them a small diploma, and you'll be happy to know at that time, all our teachers in HPS Begumpet and Ramantapur, I think Begumpet for sure, I'm not sure of Ramantapur, went through that course. So on a much larger scale is what I see you're doing in science. So very laudable and very exciting, as I say, and it has potential to be expanded to many other things.
Sure.
A lot of other things. So thank you very much for spending the evening with us and delivering this very interesting talk. May I request Mr. Somashekar Rao, our Joint Secretary, to propose a vote of thanks? Somashekar Rao, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah. Good evening to everybody. President of FOSWL Hyderabad, Sri Venkateswara Rao Garu, distinguished speaker, Professor Narasimha Rao Desirazu, family and of Sri Subramaya, and thank you all for joining our 166th monthly meeting. This is the 10th monthly meeting in our.
You're breaking up, Andy, Somashekar Rao.
14th year of a family members of Sri Telekapalli Subramaya Garu. Sir?
You're breaking up. It's not very clear.
Yeah, internet got
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, I think he is having
Thank you all for joining. We thank the family members of Sri Telekapalli Subramaya and Srimati Kamalamma, and the family members of Sri Srinivas Nayani for establishing an annual endowment lecture in their names in the month of October. We also thank Sri Vijay Raghavan Endlur, October every year, Ian Purushothaman sir. Thank you, Mrs. Indira Nayan, for reading the prayer. Thank you, Mr. Anand Halbe, for introducing the distinguished speaker. Education is a much discussed subject in our country, especially during elections time. The debate on the new education policy 10 years and more of political upmanship. We have also in recent times read a lot about to upgrade schools infrastructure. However, in all this, it often forgot to teach the primal building block education system or reform thereof. Pitiable
Somashekar Rao.
teach skill development and digging the profession in this scenario.
Somashekar Rao.
Cheppandi.
I think your internet is quite bad, so I'll just announce if you can mute yourself, I'll announce the next two talks as we customarily do. Sorry about the internet of our Joint Secretary. I think, thank you so much, Narasim, for the excellent talk. We really enjoyed it. And just want to announce the next 2 months talks. We have Ms. Padma Gurka, who is going to speak on empowerment of women through entrepreneurship and change in social norms. She is the director of Thermocables, and she is a much awarded entrepreneur. and she'll be speaking on the third Saturday, 19th November on Zoom. And on the third Saturday in December, that is the 17th December, we have Mr. APVN Sarma, IIS former secretary to the Government of India. He will speak to us on the development of the shipping and ports infrastructure in India in recent years.
Oh,
so we have some very interesting topics in the next 2 months. And whoever of you wish to get the invitation for future meetings, please type in your name and email address in the chat box. And our team will be happy to add you to the mailing list for future programs. Just type in your name and email address. So thank you all for attending. I will keep the meeting open for a few minutes so that you can type in your email addresses, maybe another 5 minutes, and then we'll bid audio to all of you. Thanks so much, Narasim, and the rest
thank
of you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.